about the girl who drowned. They say it was a suicide. She used to serve at the Garnet Pavilion. Rumor is—
Hey guys, welcome back to Anime Sensei Reaction. Last episode continued building the tension inside the rear palace as Mao once again uncovered suspicious details hidden beneath everyday palace life. What I really love about this anime is how every case feels connected to both medicine and the dangerous social structure surrounding the emperor's court. We also saw Jin Shi continuing to involve Mao in situations that clearly go beyond the responsibilities of a normal servant. At this point, it's obvious he values her abilities far more than anyone else does. Meanwhile, Lady Gyokuyu's position still places everyone around the Jade Pavilion under constant pressure, since one mistake could easily become a political weapon. Going into episode 10, I feel like the mysteries are starting to become more serious, and I'm curious whether Mao's growing reputation will bring even bigger trouble toward her. Let's get started.
she was the one who poisoned Lady Li Shu's food at the garden party. I wonder if she did it because she served concubine Adwo?
Wait, pure consort Adwo?
Word is she was going to lose her title as one of the 4 consorts and be replaced by a younger concubine.
At 35, concubine Adwo is 1 year older than the emperor. She had a male baby with him back when he was still a prince, but the child died. It's a shame the rear palace is designed solely for producing heirs. Mother to a lost son. If Lady Li Hua fails to bear another child, she'll probably suffer the same fate. There's no guarantee that Lady Gyokyo will continue to have the Emperor's love either. Even the most beautiful flowers wilt eventually, and those unable to bear fruit no longer serve a purpose.
Sorry, I've got to run.
Before you go, take this with you.
Huh?
Leftovers from yesterday's tea party.
Oh, thank you! There were more snacks than you could finish, huh? Those tea parties are so grand!
I have my doubts. It's definitely a form of work for a concubine.
Good, you're here. Help me out!
Not again. You're not holding anything back for this one.
Obviously. Our guest is the high-ranking concubine virtuous consort Lady Li Shu.
The politics of the rear palace are well represented here.
Consort Li Shu. What an honor. I thank you for having me.
It's all about feeling each other out. Is this just part of being a woman? Perpetually suspicious of the same sex? They seem more on edge than when the Emperor visits. It's really something, watching Lady Gyokyo tease out information through genial chatter. She's definitely worthy of her title. I heard she sends the information she gathered.
The news reached Mao in the quietest way possible, passed between hushed voices as if the palace itself feared hearing it spoken aloud. Xiaolan leaned close and revealed that the maid who had recently died had not been some insignificant servant after all. She had belonged to the Garnet Palace. More disturbingly, she was believed to be the person responsible for poisoning consort Li Shu during the banquet. The revelation spread through Mao's thoughts like cold water seeping into cloth, slow at first, then impossible to ignore. At a glance, the motive appeared painfully easy to understand. The maid had likely acted for the sake of her mistress, Lady Duo. Within the inner palace, loyalty often twisted itself into dangerous shapes, especially when fear and desperation entered the picture. Duo's standing had become increasingly unstable over recent months. Rumors drifted through corridors, behind screens, beneath lowered fans. Everyone seemed convinced that her position among the 4 great consorts was nearing its end. Someone younger would eventually replace her. Someone more useful. In the imperial rear palace, usefulness was measured with brutal simplicity. Duo was already 35 years old, older even than the emperor himself. Compared to the other consorts, she seemed to belong to another generation entirely. Lady Lihua was still only 23. Gyokuyu had not even reached 20. Li Shu, timid and delicate, was merely 14 years old, almost more child than woman. The contrast was impossible to overlook. Youth held power within the harem. Beauty strengthened that power. Fertility elevated it further into something close to survival. Duo had once carried the emperor's child long ago, back when he had still been crowned prince. But the child had died before the future of the empire could grow from that fragile beginning. Though no one openly declared her incapable of conceiving again, The palace had little patience for uncertainty.
To help her family back home. When you hail from a trading outpost, it's essential to stay abreast of the latest news. That's the taster from the garden party. I'm glad it looks like she hasn't been treated too harshly. She still thinks I'm gonna bite her head off. Strange how none of the other servants are paying attention to their mistress. That said, it doesn't seem like they're actively harassing her either. It'd be less than ideal if my report to Master Gauchwin was wrong.
Do you have any issues with sweets?
Oh, I simply adore them.
Perfect. Since it's so cold out, I thought this might hit the spot. The drink is made from orange peels boiled in honey. It should warm you right up. I hope you like it.
She can't handle honey either.
What a picky eater, right?
What sort of guest turns down the hostess's food?
Yep.
Indeed.
Lady Gyokyo.
Oh my. Ailan, I'm sorry. I believe this needs to be stewed longer. Let's find you something else. How about hot ginger water?
Yes, that will be fine.
Unfortunately, it seems I wasn't wrong about the bullying. Roing.
Leave the cleaning up entirely to us.
That's right. You need to go and get your rest.
I'm not too tired to help, you know.
How was Concubines Gyokyo and Lishu's tea party?
I did find it suspicious how such a large-scale event happened so quickly. Figures it was his idea. Everyone that was present.
Time itself had become her enemy. Younger women promised stronger heirs, and heirs ensured political stability. In such a world, affection mattered far less than bloodlines. As Mao reflected on all of this, she found herself staring at the cruel machinery hidden beneath the palace's elegant exterior. Every painted corridor and silk curtain concealed the same truth. Women bloomed beautifully for a season, and when that season passed without producing results, they were quietly discarded. Even Liwa's future might eventually resemble Ah Duo's if she failed to bear a child. Even Gyokuyu, currently beloved by the emperor and protected by influence, could not escape time forever. Beauty dimmed, favor shifted, the palace never stopped calculating a woman's worth. Flowers that produced no fruit eventually became decorations no one cared to preserve. The next day, preparations began for the tea gathering at the Jade Pavilion. Such events were not social occasions in the ordinary sense. They were ceremonial battlegrounds disguised beneath smiles and refined manners. Every word carried weight, every gesture concealed intent. Consorts attended not merely to drink tea but to measure one another carefully, searching for weaknesses beneath graceful appearances. This time, Lishu had been invited as the honored guest. The young consort arrived looking visibly uncomfortable, like a bird trapped inside a cage far too large for it. Mao watched the atmosphere tighten the moment the gathering began. Though Gyokuyu maintained her usual gentle warmth, Mao quickly noticed how calculated the conversation truly was. Questions appeared innocent on the surface, yet each one guided the discussion toward specific information. Gyokuyu possessed remarkable skill in drawing people out without making them realize they were being examined. Her upbringing had likely shaped that talent. Coming from a region deeply connected to trade routes and foreign dealings,
Had an enjoyable time.
I am far from being done with you.
Funny, I'm more than done with you.
The poisoning at the garden party. Did you hear that it was carried out by the Garnet Pavilion servant who drowned in the moat?
I am aware of all the rumors.
Do you think she really committed suicide?
I've already told you that's not for me to determine.
She was a common servant girl. What reason would she have for attempting to poison concubine Lishu?
I don't know.
On that note, can you help at the Garnet Pavilion starting tomorrow?
How polite, making it sound as if I have any say in the matter. Of course. Mansions are painted in their master's colors, figuratively speaking. Concubine Kyokyo's Jade Pavilion feels homey. Concubine Lihua's Crystal Pavilion is refined and noble. The Garnet Pavilion, home to Concubine Oddwell, is practical and simple with a polishing class to it.
My apologies for summoning you so suddenly. For the next few days, we'll work closely.
Master Jinshi didn't give specific instructions. I suppose I'm to do chores?
These are new faces. Feng Ming, who are they?
Assistants for our cleaning day.
Good. Thank you for the help.
Adwa, the pure consort. Neither showy nor voluptuous, she has an androgynous, gallant kind of beauty. Is she really 35? Dressed differently, she'd pass as a young civil servant. She would look more at home in a riding outfit instead of her skirt and dress.
Whoa, those are intense stairs.
Gyokuyu had probably spent much of her life observing merchants, diplomats, and negotiators. Timing, expressions, hesitation, those things mattered in commerce as much as they did in politics. Mao would not have been surprised if Gyokuyu regularly sent information back to her homeland while maintaining her position inside the palace. Intelligence flowed as naturally as rivers through places tied to trade. As the tea gathering continued, Mao noticed Lishu's poison taster standing nearby. Relief flickered briefly inside her chest. At least the girl had survived the aftermath of the poisoning incident without punishment. Yet the moment the poison taster noticed Mao watching her, fear crossed her face immediately. The memory of that terrifying banquet still lingered heavily in her mind. Something else soon caught Mao's attention. Lishu's maids behaved strangely. At first glance, they did not appear openly hostile toward their mistress. They fulfilled their duties well enough to avoid suspicion. Yet there was an unnatural distance in the way they interacted with her, subtle enough that many people would overlook it entirely. Their words carried irritation disguised as concern. Their smiles lacked warmth. It was not the obvious cruelty of direct abuse, but something quieter and more poisonous. Mao briefly wondered if perhaps she had imagined things before when she reported her concerns to Gaoshan. Maybe she had been overly suspicious. Then the food was served. Because of the cold weather, Gyokuyu had prepared a warming dish made with honey and dried citrus peel. The fragrant sweetness spread gently through the room, comforting and rich. But the instant Lishu saw it, her expression froze. Not dislike, fear. Her maids reacted almost immediately, criticizing her with exaggerated annoyance. They complained about her being difficult again, acting as though she were simply a childish eater refusing proper hospitality. Their
Who is it she reminds me of? That's Lady Fengming. I expected the pure consort's head lady-in-waiting to be from an important family, but she's surprisingly approachable.
If you could be so kind, I would like you to air these books out. You can ask the palace eunuchs to handle the heavier items.
She really is the eldest of the high-ranking concubines. The mansion is full of objects, but each one has a place and a purpose. Similar to the Jade Pavilion, the servants here are hard workers. There are a few idiots who could learn a thing or two from them. That's all of them.
You've done this much already? I recognize a hard worker when I see one. Would you mind helping us out in the parlor as well?
Glad to. She's friendly, observant, and praises others freely. As head lady-in-waiting, she has a real skill for handling people. I haven't done that much physical labor in a long while.
Thank you again for your hard work today.
Sure.
If I'm not mistaken, you'll be spending the night here, correct? Please follow me.
What smells sweet?
I insist you use this. It'll be cold tonight.
I'm so grateful.
Hope you sleep well.
Performance felt rehearsed. That single moment sharpened Mao Mao's instincts. Without drawing attention, she signaled quietly to Gyokuyu. The older consort understood at once. Smoothly and elegantly, Gyokuyu redirected the situation by suggesting the honey mixture needed additional preparation time. Instead, she offered ginger tea. The tension in Lishu's shoulders eased almost immediately. Meanwhile, disappointment flickered briefly across the faces of several maids. That was enough. At that moment, Ma Mao became certain this was no misunderstanding. Lishu was indeed being mistreated, though not through visible violence. It was psychological, deliberate, and carefully controlled. Later, Ma Mao learned that the invitation itself had originated from Jinshi. The beautiful eunuch rarely acted without purpose, and unsurprisingly, he soon sought her out afterward. He stopped her in private, his expression carrying that familiar mixture of amusement and calculation. He already knew the dead maid belonged to the Garnet Palace. He also knew she had poisoned Lishu. Then he asked the question directly. Did Ma Mao truly believe the maid had killed herself? Ma Mao avoided giving a clear answer. She had long learned that certainty inside the rear palace could become dangerous. Facts shifted depending on who survived long enough to tell them. When Jinshi pressed further and asked why a maid would target a consort, Ma Mao merely claimed ignorance. Jinshi did not seem bothered by her evasiveness. Instead, he made another proposal. Or rather, an order disguised as a request. He wanted Ma Mao to assist temporarily at the Garnet Palace. There was no genuine choice involved. A servant could not refuse Jinshi. And so Ma Mao found herself entering the residence of Lady Ah Duo. Each palace within the rear court reflected its mistress in subtle ways. The Jade Pavilion felt warm and vibrant, filled with life and laughter beneath its elegance.
Master Jinshi didn't tell me to do anything specific. All the same. Is the mastermind behind the poisoning really in the palace? Everyone seems so devoted to their work. And not just the ladies in waiting.
Lady Fengming, I would be happy to take care of that.
Oh, don't worry about it. It's just something I noticed.
Lady Fengming is a shining example. She's well past her prime, but in another life, she would have made a great wife. I wonder if she ever considered marriage. Or if she chose to serve concubine Adol for life. As far as motives for the poisoning, fierce loyalty could be one. With the newest concubine about to ascend, the high-ranking consort who would be placed most at risk is Adol. But what if a vacancy opened elsewhere first? The Emperor is only interested in ripened fruit. He hasn't paid a visit to Lady Lishu yet. Which is fine, considering the girl's only 14. But individuals could also claim she's not serving as a concubine. If someone was poisoned for concubine Adol's sake, it wouldn't be out of the question to target Lady Lishu.
Can someone help me out here?
It's honey.
The jars are all from an apiary Lady Fengming's family runs.
It's no wonder there's so much of it here, despite it being a luxury. That must have been the sweet smell from last night. Huh? Lady Lishu? She's accompanied by just the one taster. Why is she at the Garnet Pavilion? Back at our...
The Crystal Pavilion radiated luxury, every surface polished to perfection. The Garnet Palace, however, felt entirely different. It was restrained, efficient, quietly refined without needing extravagance to prove its dignity. The atmosphere lacked softness yet did not feel cold. Everything there seemed purposeful, from the arrangement of furniture to the disciplined movements of the servants. Since Jinshi provided no immediate instructions beyond her transfer, Ma Mao joined the servants preparing for the seasonal transition. The end of winter meant extensive cleaning before spring arrived. Curtains were changed, storage inspected, dust removed from corners hidden for months. As she worked, Ma Mao studied Ah Duo from afar. The consort did not possess the dazzling femininity commonly celebrated within the harem. Yet there was something undeniably captivating about her appearance. Her features balanced masculine sharpness with feminine elegance so naturally that it created an unusual charm. Her posture carried quiet authority rather than seductive grace. At one point, Ma Mao even found herself imagining that if Ah Duo dressed in official robes instead of women's attire, she could easily pass for a handsome young nobleman. More importantly, nothing about her presence matched her age. Among the palace staff, one woman quickly stood out. The head maid, Feng Ming. She moved through the palace with calm competence, carrying herself with the composure of someone likely raised in a noble household. Unlike many high-ranking attendants, she treated others kindly and offered praise freely when work was done well. Her intelligence was obvious from the way she observed everything around her. Yet Ma Mao noticed one peculiar detail. A bandage wrapped around Feng Ming's arm. The maids of the Garnet Palace worked with impressive discipline, nothing like the laziness Ma Mao had witnessed elsewhere. Watching them stirred faint irritation inside her as she imagined certain servants from the Crystal Pavilion collapsing.
Tea party. That's what transpired at the Garnet Pavilion.
I see. Go on.
That's all. There's no and or but. I don't know what he's expecting from me. I'm an apothecary, not a spy. If that was the assignment, he asked the wrong girl. And what's with his casual attitude recently?
Let's change the subject. Who among them could make contact with the outside using some special method? Guesses?
What a roundabout way of asking. Only one possibility. It is Lady Fengming, the head lady in waiting.
Based on?
I noticed she had bandages wrapped around her left wrist. Then there were the colored text plates. They were found wrapped in a woman's dress with burns on the sleeves. The question is, why the need for multicolored fires? One possibility is that it was some kind of code. Although, it's difficult for me to imagine a woman as gentle as her being part of a conspiracy. Then again, that's just my opinion.
My, you've done quite well.
Given the way he's lapping up that honey, he must have already suspected her.
This is for you. Good girls should be rewarded.
I must decline!
Don't be so modest.
Offer it to someone who wants your fingers in their mouth! This guy thinks he can get away with anything just because he has a pretty face! Why am I shocked? He's always been a pervert! Master Gaoshun! Laxatives in your food later!
Do you not like sweets?
I prefer spicy.
But you can still eat this,
Damn it, he won't listen. If he weren't so high up, I'd kick him in the groin. Oh, wait.
Under even half this workload. By evening, exhaustion hit her. Harder than expected. Life at the Jade Pavilion had spoiled her somewhat. She had grown accustomed to lighter duties, medicines, and observation rather than physical labor. Now every muscle in her body protested. The following day, while continuing her tasks, her thoughts returned once again to the poisoning case. If someone within the Garnet Palace truly orchestrated the attack, who benefited most? Again and again, her suspicions circled back toward Feng Ming. Extreme loyalty could easily become dangerous. If Ah Duo's position truly stood on the edge of collapse, eliminating rival consorts might appear justified to a devoted servant. And among the targets available, Li Shu made the most practical victim. Young though she was, she remained politically vulnerable and lacked strong influence. While cleaning a storage room later that afternoon, Ma Mao discovered large quantities of honey carefully stored inside. One of the maids casually explained that Feng Ming's family managed a bee farm outside the capital. That explained not only the abundance of honey but also its exceptional quality. Even the candles used in Feng Ming's room were made from beeswax. The information settled heavily in Mao Mao's mind. Honey. Again. Later that same day, she spotted Li Shu arriving at the Garnet Palace accompanied by her poison taster. The memory of the tea gathering resurfaced instantly. Li Shu's fear had not been ordinary dislike. After finishing her duties, Ma Mao reported her observations to Jinshi. Rather than responding immediately, he asked her an unexpected question. If someone inside the rear palace were secretly communicating with outsiders, who would it likely be? Ma Mao answered almost at once. Feng Ming. The bandaged arm, the damaged sleeves she had noticed earlier, the strange colored flames observed previously. Combined together, the details suggested coded fire.
There's nothing there to kick. Should I accept this as an order or escape with my dignity intact? Why couldn't it be a bowl of aconite soup instead?
Do you have any issues with sweets? I hope you like it.
It's honey.
The jars are all from an apiary Lady Fang Ming's family runs.
Lady Li Shu. Honey. So that's why.
Sorry?
What are you doing to my lady-in-waiting?
Gyokyo, I was...
Who gave you any authority to harass her?
Xiao Mao, this was simply a prank Master Jinshi took too far. So, could you find it in your heart to forgive him?
Since it was nothing but harmless fun, next time you can do the licking for me.
Me? Licking? That's too much.
You get the point now. Also, there are a few things I need you to look into for me. Beg your pardon.
Welcome! Huh? Master Jinshi's not here?
No, I'm sorry for the sudden intrusion.
You may speak. What is it the Jade Pavilion wants from me?
I have a question for you.
I remember you from the garden party. How can I assist you?
Are you not...
Signals. Though Ma Mao struggled to imagine the composed head maid engaging in espionage, the evidence continued pointing toward her. Jinshi appeared pleased by her reasoning. Unfortunately for Ma Mao, his satisfaction led him toward behavior she found deeply unsettling. Ignoring her protests entirely, he dipped a finger into a jar of honey before extending it toward her with deliberate slowness. The gesture itself was childish, but the expression in his eyes made the situation unbearable. Ma Mao immediately recoiled while Gaoshan, entirely unhelpful, pretended not to notice her suffering. As frustration and embarrassment churned through her thoughts, another realization suddenly surfaced. Honey, Li Shu's reaction, Feng Ming's family, the dead maid, the pieces finally began fitting together. But before she could fully organize her conclusions, another interruption arrived. Gyokuyu entered the scene looking visibly irritated after witnessing Jinshi's inappropriate behavior. Recognizing danger immediately, Jinshi escaped with suspicious speed, leaving Ma Mao behind to recover her dignity. Determined now to confirm her suspicions, Ma Mao requested Gaoshan arrange a meeting with Li Shu. When they finally spoke privately, Ma Mao carefully guided the conversation toward honey. Rather than reacting defensively, Li Shu quietly admitted the truth. As a child, she had nearly died after consuming honey. Since then, she had been strictly forbidden from eating it. An allergy, a severe one. Suddenly everything became horrifyingly clear. The poisoning incident may never have involved traditional poison at all. Meanwhile, Li Shu's attendants reacted to Mao Mao's questions with exaggerated outrage, almost theatrical in intensity. Yet their behavior only strengthened Mao Mao's suspicions further. It no longer felt like ordinary protectiveness. The servants seemed intent on controlling Li Shu emotionally, encouraging
Fond of honey?
How did you know?
It was written on your face. Maybe you had a reaction to it at some point in the past. It's not uncommon for someone to get food poisoning and have trouble eating it later.
That's not quite what happened. It occurred when I was only a baby, so I don't remember. But I was told later I nearly died. Since then, my nurses forbade me from ever eating it.
What gives you the right to ask the consort such probing questions?
Say the ladies in waiting who didn't protect her at the tea party.
Look at her face. Whatever she asks, you don't need to answer anything.
The fact that she's being so rude to the virtuous consort alone gives us every right to have her expelled.
So that's how they pretend they're her only allies, by painting any outsider as a villain.
It's our responsibility to
Shame
comfort
on all of
Lady
you,
Shu.
trying to deceive a naive girl. She's an isolated concubine, with no one to rely on except her scheming ladies in waiting. What a vicious cycle. I am here on orders, not because I want to be, but if you have any objections, you should take them up with Master Jinshi.
Wait! Master Jinshi? Directly?
He owes me this much at the very least. I can't wait to hear what excuses they came up with to approach our resident deviant. Before we continue, one more thing. Are you familiar with Lady Fengming? Head lady in waiting at the Garnet Pavilion?
Xiao Mao?
Master Gaoxuan, is there a way one can learn about past events in the rear palace?
I can search through the court library.
I'd appreciate it.
Independence and isolation while making her distrust outsiders. Before departing, Ma Mao deliberately mentioned that her investigation was being conducted under Jinshi's authority. The effect was immediate. Complaints vanished at once. Then she asked one final question. Had Li Shu ever met Feng Ming before? The change in Li Shu's expression answered everything before words could. Later, with Gao Shun's assistance, Ma Mao began examining older palace records. Dust-covered documents slowly revealed a tragedy buried beneath 17 years of silence. Back when the emperor had still been crowned prince, Ah Duo had given birth to his only child. At that time, she had been his sole consort for nearly an entire decade. Their relationship extended far beyond political convenience. They had even been raised by the same wet nurse, growing close from childhood. Yet despite all that history, the infant prince had died shortly after birth. As Ma Mao continued reading, a familiar name appeared among those assigned to care for the child. That discovery sent a chill through her. Everything she had observed over recent weeks suddenly connected together with terrifying precision. The medicinal herbs growing in unexpected places. The strangely skilled apothecary hidden within the red light district. The crippled man whose knowledge far exceeded his station. All those fragments pointed toward a single individual. An imperial physician once trusted within the palace itself. A man later cast out and forgotten. Luomen, her father. The realization lingered inside Ma Mao like the final note of a funeral bell. For a long moment, the world around her seemed unusually distant. The palace corridors, the flickering lanterns, even the rustling pages beneath her fingers all faded behind the weight of what she had uncovered. Her father had once stood at the center of these events, which meant the tragedy surrounding Ah Duo's lost child was not merely history. It was personal.
What did she figure out this time? There's no denying she's smart, especially for a 17-year-old. Not only is she knowledgeable and composed, she possesses the ability to think through and deal with various issues. Despite her peculiarities, it's still impressive.
The following occurred 17 years ago when the current emperor was prince. He had a child, a son with concubine Ah Duo, though the baby's already gone. He was born around the same time as the prior Emperor and Empress Dowager's son, making him the current Emperor's younger brother. That was the one child he had while he was a prince, and Lady Adwa was his only concubine. It says the Emperor and concubine Adwa are foster siblings, so that would explain his close attachment to her. But it's surprising a man that lustful only had one concubine back then. 16 years ago, the baby died. It was delivered by... I never said it aloud, but that was my hunch. Several of the herbs growing in the rear palace were the same ones I used while growing up. Someone must have transplanted them there. A man who drags his feet like an old woman. A doctor so obviously overqualified in his position as a pleasure district apothecary. A former palace eunuch with a bone removed from one knee. What were you doing, Father?
Next time, reducing 2 to 1.
Alright, everyone, that is for today's reaction on Anime Sensei Reaction. Thank you for so much for watching and spending your time with me. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notification so you won't miss any the reaction. Let me know your true favorite moment and break down in the comment, because I always love reading what you guys think. We still have a lot of amazing anime moments, crazy battle, emotional scene, and unexpected trip coming soon on the channel. I truly appreciate all the support, and I can't wait to watch more anime together with you all. Take care everyone, and I will see you in the next reaction video.